Change is hard. It's uncomfortable. You have responsibilities. Your beliefs have impacted others, have shaped and morphed throughout time. But are there some you're still holding on to because they serve you? Well, shifting into this conscious awareness state where we are manifesting at such a fast pace, we must be really mindful of the language we're using so that we don't bring in old aspects of a power dynamic, a paternal, patriarchal, colonizer mentality of destruction and power over, to be in balance, to be in harmony. That's an everyday thing. That's a process where you have to really step away from thinking that it's not you. I guarantee you, it's you. It's all of us. Hi, and welcome back. It's June the 7th, 2026, and if you are feeling this not effing around energy right now, you are 100% in alignment. All the old stories are so far away, and yet we are recognizing some resistance. And people are speaking out and speaking their truth, stepping into their power and their knowing, and 100% being present. And recognizing and seeing the ways in which they are contributing, we are contributing to the problems, to the old systems and structures that made us feel small, to feel stuck, to feel powerless, and shifting from there. Accountable, responsible, present. And when I think about this message that's coming through of soulful remembering, it takes me back to so many things I spoke about in my earliest videos about redefining words that we just innately accept as what it is. And without knowing, we are then performing at a very subconscious level within the paradigm that created the word. Without questioning what our language says and how it engages our beliefs, and that we internalize that as having value and meaning, which then reflects back on our purpose, we're just perpetuating old patterns and behaviors and believing that we're somehow enlightened. And yet, we just continue to participate in the illusion, performing in that player actor mentality where you aren't tuned in, where you're not questioning things, where you're not looking at the bigger picture and how that influences everything around you, everyone, all your relationships, your experiences, your feelings, everything. because you're identifying with something that is not your own. And one of those words that I thought was important to redefine so that it fit, because so many people don't have a common agreed upon understanding of what it means to be safe. For some people, feeling safe means that they're not being abused in a moment, or they're in an environment that believes all the same beliefs as them and they won't be challenged, or that they are in a home that they feel is paid for and that they're protected, that nothing can happen or change, or a career and a job that they've invested so much in, and that they will reach a retirement age and they will reap the rewards and everything plays out. Well, that's all a part of a story. So for me, safe is spiritually aligned, fearlessly engaged in your energetic expression of who you soulfully are, how you engage with the world, how you see things, how you connect with people. And when you're spiritually aligned with that internal knowing, and you don't care what other people think or believe, or the things that they try to impose on you as they try to pull you back into their belief systems and their paradigms, because they can't go any further and they don't want you to challenge it, because then that completely shakes and breaks down their understanding of what it means to be safe. And then what do? What will they do with that? Well, if you don't have that internal sense of groundedness, of knowing who you are, transforming at that level feels absolutely impossible. It feels unfathomable. So instead, resistance, fight, knocking someone else's feet out from underneath them, creating an environment where someone feels forced, under duress, to conform and comply with their version. And we see it in so many aspects of our lives within systems and structures. Colonialism, perfect example of a country, a group of people, an ideology coming in to extract resources from a people, from a land that was already inhabited, and then suggesting as though it was discovered, and then minimizing, subjugating horrific offenses against a population so that a new narrative can be created. And all these subtleties, all this language that then gets put in place so that you believe a stereotype, so that you label, so that you other the original indigenous land-based peoples who were living in harmony with the land. And that is why it's so important to use your discernment, to ask more questions, to step back and look at the bigger picture, to put yourself in someone else's shoes and wonder how you would feel if you were identified as an other when you were there first, to have your everything, your children, your culture, your family units, your language, your belief, your connection with the land stripped away from you violently. And then have everyone else that comes after believe that story. Time immemorial, before colonialism history was written and identified, time immemorial, the real truth, the real history, the importance of what it means to reconnect with the land, and to stop spewing ignorance based on your lack of integrity, to find out and to experience and connect with what is truly all around you. It always amazes me when I hear people speak in such derogatory terms and language about Indigenous peoples, especially across North America, here in Canada, down in the United States, as if they are being given something that wasn't already theirs, and how people now are so nervous and stressed out and angry about Indigenous people standing up for themselves. And they feel as though it's a political statement, when reality is, it's a rebalancing. It's returning unceded territory to its rightful inhabitants, who are stewards of the land, who caretake for Mother Earth, who connect with the Creator, who didn't obliterate things they see or saw have value, taking only what was needed, living in balance, listening, feeling, sensing. And if it takes this world to fall apart for that to happen again, let it happen. Because we're not living in right relationships. We are absolutely not. And until we start to tear away this language that continues to be so pervasive and continue to enhance and support and to perpetuate these differences, this power over struggle, this paternal, white, nationalist idealism. People who get so angry and so invested in the story that they are living, like we just talked about, that they fail to recognize the ignorance, the paradox that they live in, that they believe that they have a right to land that they purchased when the land was never for sale, or to extract resources from places and spaces that had been in harmony. And because it is so rich in what it can do within a system, people don't matter. The land doesn't matter. All that matters is money. And when money disappears, and you've depleted the land and you've got nothing left, and you have isolated yourself from the very people who know how to live in a right relationship, your extinction is guaranteed. So instead, educate yourself from first-hand experiences of Indigenous peoples who have been sharing their wisdom and sharing and offering their knowledge and experiences. And talk about warriors having to rebuild and come back from genocide, actual genocide, where removing everything as though they didn't exist. That's who I want to learn from. That's the life that I want to live. I want to be part of the solution, not continuing to perpetuate this old, horrific story that has no good ending. Recognizing our own history, our lived experiences, what has influenced the way that we see the world, our worldview, whether or not it is a very small worldview or if it is a very global, universal worldview. So you go from that singular focus to a collective focus, where you consider more than just yourself and your needs and your desires and what you own and what you have power over and what you control, as though you control anything other than how you express yourself. And when you step back to identify that, so that you can investigate how you perceive the world, what you are putting out that is perpetuating old systems and structures that are not enhancing our experience, but they're actively seeking to keep us small, keep us feeling powerless. And the wind confirms. When we recognize that, and we step into that knowing, and we speak from a place of owning our participation in something. I am a white, 4th generation settler on this turtle island where my inhabitants followed the lead of colonizers, believing there was a better future, believing the narrative that there was land that was uninhabited. And once in this place and space, we now have moved through 4 generations to my generation, where we have access and more opportunity to really dig into what that meant and how that has impacted our connection, not only with people, places, things, but most importantly with our environment, and whether or not we have grown, evolved, transformed, so that we begin to live in right relationships by re-examining all those parts of ourselves that either perpetuate growth and evolution and transformation and enlightenment, or just seek to control, to stay stuck, and to resist. And we all know how resistance always ends up. Always. Without a doubt. Resistance of really connecting Resistance of something that you're afraid of always ends up in a moment where you have no choice. Maybe it's illness. Maybe it's death. Maybe it is everything in your world crumbling down around you, leaving you very vulnerable, and it causes you to really reflect. It doesn't have to be that way. Step into it. Own it. Identify how you can change, how you can engage differently, and how you then can rise up to be part of the solution. So be in right relationships. Be in relationships where you take responsibility and accountability for who you are, for how your beliefs are shaped, for the language that you speak that may actually be subjugating, marginalizing, minimizing, and being in a position of power where you are creating a dynamic that doesn't fit this new timeline, where we're collective thinkers, where we actively work on ourselves, digging into our knowing, and then we grow from there. We're not seeking to collect things and to have money that we never use for good, that we just have it and think that it means something. It's about being authentic, consistent, transparent, and living in balance. Paying attention to the signs and symbols and synchronicities. Being one with this unbelievably beautiful and abundant planet that we call Earth. It takes all of us, all of our efforts and understanding and our energetic presence to really live in right relationships, in balance, considering the whole, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, and bringing it back to a center, taking only what you need, considering generations in the future and the past, and making decisions based on that, rather than what feels good right now. How does that make me look? Let it go. Your ego has no place in this new paradigm. Live from a place of soulful knowing and trust that where you're headed and where you are right now and where you've been is exactly what was meant to be. Thanks for watching, everyone, for being here, for commenting, sharing, liking, and subscribing, and for being a part of this unbelievable journey where we are in positions of co-creating the future and the experiences that we always imagined. But instead of imagining, we're remembering, and we're leaning into that remembering of all that is possible, all that we have experienced, and that's how we yearn for it. We have been there before. We know how good it can be. And that requires hard work. That requires letting go of your ego, really challenging your own thoughts and beliefs, your values, and the systems and structures that you were raised within that contribute to how you see the world now, your worldview. And pulling back to identify if you still believe that, if things have changed, and how you can mediate in between those two places by stepping into accountability and into different behaviors, different projections, different actions from this soulful knowing. So until next time, stay safe, stay connected, and we'll see you really soon. Bye.